Now, medicine used at Scottish salmon farms to target parasitic sea lice is having a significant impact on the marine environment, according to a major report. The Scottish Environment Protection Agency, which carried out the study, is calling for tighter regulation of the sector. Here's SEPA's Chief Executive, Terry Ahern.
These treatments have been used for a number of years, and there's been a lot of scientific work done to understand their impact. We've undertaken our biggest ever scientific study into the impact of the medicines and found that they probably last longer, go further than we had previously anticipated. So what we're announcing today is a new interim standard for new fish farm proposals where we'll have a much tighter regulation of that medicine.
Well, the Scottish Salmon Producers Association welcomes the report, but their Chief Executive, Julie Hesketh-Laird, says farms are already regulated.
Salmon farms have been operating under existing SEPA rules as set by the Scottish Government for all of this time. So, we just need to be clear that the industry has been following the rules within the framework that it's been asked to. The industry would want to be regulated on a scientific basis and ensure that, all of its regulation is robust. So we'll look at the new information in detail.
Well, the campaigner Don Staniford is the director of Scottish Salmon Watch. He joins me now. Don, first of all, how far do these tighter controls announced by SEPA go?
Well, they're a very welcome step, but they certainly don't go far enough. We have environmental groups like National Trust for Scotland and the Salmon and Trout Conservation and the Scottish Green Party calling for a moratorium. So clearly the industry, as it's currently practiced, is already breaching the carrying capacity and is already killing off shellfish. These chemicals are lethal to lobsters. That's the science that Terry Ahern at SEPA talks about. And I think what we've seen SEPA effectively admitting is that their regulations are not tight enough. So yes, it's great to see a tightening of the net, but we need to see that tighter, and that would mean immediate closure of farms in unsuitable locations and fines for farms that are not complying with the regulations. We've seen last month that SEPA said a fifth of all salmon farms in Scotland are operating to poor performance, so they're not complying with the law.
Why do we need a moratorium, though? Surely if they do operate to these new tighter regulations, they should still be allowed to open up.
Salmon farms are discharging untreated, contaminated waste, which includes toxic chemicals that are lethal to shellfish, directly into Scotland's pristine lochs. I think they've lost their social and environmental licence. If you speak to fishermen, inshore creel fishermen and lobster fishermen, they'll tell you that the inshore areas are devoid of life. And you don't need to be a rocket scientist to work out that these chemicals, which are designed to kill sea lice, which are members of the crustacean family, they also kill other crustaceans like lobsters.
But can't we just ban the chemicals rather than banning salmon farms?
Well, I think you can do both. I think without the use of these toxic chemicals, the salmon farming industry would not be able to survive. And moving further offshore to larger salmon farms isn't the solution, and the solution to pollution is not dilution. You're still discharging those waste directly into the sea. So if the industry does have a future, they should introduce closed containment facilities. That's where the waste is treated. That could be on land or in inshore lochs.
And what is the evidence then about a decline in numbers of lobsters and shellfish?
We've got evidence from eastern Canada of a direct link between salmon farm facilities and the decline of lobsters. One of the reports that Terry Ahern at SEPA referred to from 2016 by the Scottish Aquaculture Research Forum, SARF, also talked about scientific evidence of lethality to lobsters. So that's effectively these chemicals are killing shellfish. And we've seen from SEPA today that teflubenzoron, which was banned, that's a chemical used to kill sea lice, that was banned in 2013, 5 years ago, and it's still being detected in sediments under nearly half of Scotland's salmon farms. So these chemicals, they're toxic, they're persistent. So we need a ban on emamectin benzoate. This is this other chemical that SEPA talk about. So that needs to be banned. It doesn't need to be reviewed. And I think the industry needs to clean up its act. And certainly Fergus Ewing's plans to double or treble salmon farming production by 2030 are now dead in the water. And we're calling on the Scottish Parliament, the Rural Economy Committee, are going to produce a report very we're calling on them to clamp down on salmon farming.
John Staniford from Scottish Salmon Watch, thank you.